Now, before 11 TV Hill became 11 TV Hill, this program was called The Bottom Line, and the host, now Congressman Kweisi Mfume. And earlier this week, we had the congressman here on TV Hill to talk about how he's serving Baltimoreans in the nation's capital. Congressman, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
We wouldn't get to 400 episodes without you. I think one skill that I've tried to steal from you and steal from Stan Stovall also is the art of listening. I think it's easier to hear people in the community, but when you're able to listen to the issues, it's life-changing, I think, both sides.
It is, and people want to be heard. That's the interesting. So it's like an invitation to something that they already want, and it's so different from what things tend to be like. You know, people are not listening. So that's a key component, and if you got that down, people then will open up and tell you what they feel. I've always thought that our pain is where our passion is, and so the things that motivate us most are there when we ask for something and then we listen to what they have to say.
Watching Bottom Line, and you talk to guests there and then talking to guests here for TV Hill, the problems don't change, or the issues don't change. The people may, and the wrapping that goes around it may, but the basic needs that people want to be heard about are about the same year to year.
They really are. They really are. They're either economic, social, systemic, or something dealing with family. And when I say family, I'm talking about the larger community. The family, like we were talking about B360 just a moment ago. So, yeah, those things don't change at all. Now, one thing that did change, interestingly enough, is that way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and the show was in its embryonic stages, we actually had a case where an African-American attorney became the attorney for the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, wow.
It was an interesting kind of dialogue. So you could listen to both sides, but things like that I don't think are happening anymore.
I'll tell you, here's something I struggle with, and we were just talking about this off camera. There are shows where I walk away and I'm curious if we helped somebody, if we had a voice, if someone walks away and says, I'm glad you had a show like that. Did you ever have those feelings? Did you ever want to make sure that you hit the mark and that the phone did ring after that episode?
Yeah, but I never knew when the show was over if I hit the mark. I thought I did, and I just didn't have a sort of valid proof of that until I would run into someone later who said, I'm so glad you did this. I'm so glad you talked about this on the show. Or this meant something to me and I didn't know. And I stumbled across your show and heard it. So, and then I want to say, well, you really like that, huh? you listened to it. So, yeah, that kind of validation is important. And it's important whether it's radio or TV, but it's particularly important in TV because people get a chance to see and are able to react that way.
Talking about a chance to see, like, representation mattered for me also. Seeing you, and I mean, this is not blowing smoke. Seeing you let me know that I could do it. And I think the same thing in Congress, people seeing you in the seat, and it's not a black male thing or a black community thing. I think in large, knowing that Baltimore is represented. Tell me about representation both on TV and in Congress as well, seeing a recognizable face.
Well, I had that same experience with the late Perrin Mitchell, who became the first African-American member of Congress from the state of Maryland, who was my mentor and predecessor. And it was because of the simple eloquence of his example that I knew that it was possible, if not for me, for someone else like me, because he had knocked that door down completely. And so that sort of thing is important. Look at the Artemis space flight. I mean, how many young kids today in their classrooms are talking about what happened with respect to that flight? And how many are being influenced in a way to believe, like, you know, I might be able to do that. I can do it if I work hard, play by the rules, get good grades, and do what I'm supposed to do. So those sort of role models, and I know that term is overused, but those sort of instances create hope, desire, and belief that you can do the same thing. So I'm a benefactor of that, and if anybody benefited from me in the same way, I'm just happy and pleased.
One big difference from TV Hill and Bottom Line is that you had a studio audience. We wait for ratings and see what happens. You had instant ratings. What was it like having an audience there to either check you or to check the guests or at least to respond to what's going on?
Yeah, Wanda Draper, who's somewhere around.
She's still around.
She took it upon herself to bring people on, volunteers, who then volunteered to get an audience every week, which was not an easy thing to do when you got to get 40 or 50 people on a Friday night, which is when we were taping.
On a Friday night?
Yeah. So
good grief, man.
That was hard to do.
Oh, I imagine. What do you think you gained from them being there?
Well, you got instant reaction. If you said something that didn't sit right or something that was questionable, they reacted right away. And if there was something humorous, you couldn't ask them to be quiet. They just started laughing. But it's the sort of instantaneous reaction to the moment and to the subject matter that for me was the biggest thing about having a live audience.
But we share this 400 episodes with you and with Stan Stovall as well. What do you hope to see from community television, like a public affairs show like this?
Well, you know, I've said this to your general manager on many occasions, that this is just a rare sort of thing in television and local programming, because everybody wanted to go the other way and get away from local programming. But you know, it's the sort of thing that connects communities with communicators. And it's very, very important that WBAL has done this for so many years and continues to do it. You know, and it's not because the FCC is mandating you have to do this. It's because I think there's a deep-seated belief here in the leadership and the management that goes back over decades that says, if we are here as a community service, we have to be a community service. And that means opening up and focusing on local.
All right. Always good to see you,
Hey,
sir.
man, thank you very much. Yeah, if you see
Appreciate it.
Stan, tell him I said
Oh, I will.